The Mercedes-Benz GLC 350e, luxury and efficiency in one amazing package. Before we get started, let's talk about the 4 different types of vehicles that are on the market today. The classic vehicle that's been around now for over 100 years is the internal combustion engine. Whether that's got a gas engine or a diesel engine, you're still using a fossil fuel and burning that through a cylinder to create your power. Recently, in the last 20 years or so, we've started to hear about the term hybrid vehicles. Well, there's actually 2 kinds of hybrid vehicles. A conventional hybrid has an electric motor and has a very small battery. Now, it uses that battery just to assist with startup and for very brief periods of acceleration. However, the regular gas motor in those vehicles are on most of the time. The next type of vehicle is what's called a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, also known as a PHEV. That's this vehicle behind me, and we'll get into the details of that in a second. But what a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle does is it has a much, much larger electric battery in it, as well as more powerful electric motors, and it allows you to actually use the vehicle for a period of time as a pure electric vehicle, or to use the electric power in the car to assist with normal driving while the regular gasoline engine is on. Finally, you've heard about electric vehicles, pure electric vehicles, which are also referred to as BEVs, or battery electric vehicles. These are vehicles that have only an electric motor. They have no gas tank in them, no gasoline motor, and those vehicles exclusively run on electricity. Now, what's the downside to those vehicles? Well, the problem is, of course, range. Now, there's been huge leaps and bounds made in electric vehicle range, but at the end of the day, it still takes time to charge those vehicles, much more time than it does to fill up a gas tank. So, if you're doing long drives, battery electric vehicles still aren't necessarily there. That brings us back to the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Why is it sort of the perfect blend? Well, let me explain that. If you're using the vehicle for in-town driving, this particular vehicle has a 20-mile electric range, meaning you can run in pure electric mode, as if it was just an electric car. Totally silent, air conditioner on, all of your normal accessories. However, when you run out of electric power, the gasoline motor will kick on and you can keep driving for as long as you have fuel in the tank. This gives you the best of both worlds. The ability to have electric driving when it's convenient for you, but also to have regular internal combustion power for those long road trips. The Mercedes-Benz GLC is Mercedes-Benz top-selling vehicle, as well as the top-selling Mercedes-Benz here at Zimbrick. And it's for good reason. It really is a do-all vehicle that's ultra-luxurious and at a really attractive price point. Now, the entry-level vehicle is the GLC 300, and that has a conventional internal combustion engine. It's a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine producing 255 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. Now, this car, the GLC 350e, is the next step up in the GLC family, and it is, as I said before, a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. If you're doing some research online, you may run across some reviews of the GLC 350e. It's important to note that this is the brand new generation of this vehicle for 2020. So when you're comparing them, make sure you're looking at reviews for the 2020 GLC 350e. It does have a significantly larger battery pack than the previous generation. Now, why might someone buy a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle? Well, the stereotype is that a hybrid is for somebody just interested in efficiency or being green. Well, that is true, and the vehicle is great at that, but it's also for people who are looking for fun. Now you're going, what do you mean by that? Well, this car still has the exact same 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine of the regular GLC 300. However, with a 90-kilowatt electric motor, the GLC 350e has a combined power of 315 horsepower and an incredible 516 pound-feet of torque. To put that into perspective, that's as much torque as a C63 Type S, which is one of our fastest cars we make. The regular GLC 300 does 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds. The GLC 350e, that's the hybrid, while getting way better fuel economy, also is going to do 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds, faster than the conventional gas motor. Across the entire GLC family, they are capable of towing 3,500 pounds. Now that is with the optionally fitted tow package. Many modern cars have different driving modes, and to be honest, some of them don't really do a lot. Maybe they change how quick the car downshifts, but that's about it. Well, when you're talking about a Mercedes-Benz, and particularly the plug-in hybrid electrics, the driving modes are really quite powerful. Some of the different driving modes give you some significant control over how the power in the car is being used. For example, by switching the car to electric mode, you can completely tell the car, no, I only want to be using electricity, and the car will only use the electric power. It won't turn on the gasoline motor at all. That's not quite true, however. If you, when you're in full electric mode, press all the way down on the gas pedal, if you keep pushing, you'll feel this little notch, and what that's called is full kickdown. And that is basically telling the car that you are demanding absolute maximum power, and it will actually go ahead and turn on the gasoline motor. You might use that in an emergency situation when you need maximum power to merge onto a highway or something, but beyond that, it'll stay in pure electric mode. Some of the other drive modes that might be also useful are the battery level mode. Battery level mode is a mode where you're telling the car you want the car to use the gasoline motor in the car to recharge the battery. So rather than using the battery up at that point, it can use it to, you can use the gas motor to recharge the batteries. Now, why might you use that? Well, let's say you're on a highway and you're cruising along on the highway. Well, when you're on the highway, you're not really going to be utilizing the electric motors all that much. Primarily, you're going to be using the gas motor for pure highway driving if you're in conventional hybrid mode. Obviously, if you're in electric mode, you're just going to be using the electric batteries. But when you're in battery charge mode, you're going to drive down the highway, you can recharge the batteries so that when you get into an urban environment where you might want to just be on pure electric mode, the batteries are all topped up and you never had to plug in. Some of the other drive modes, well, the car defaults to comfort mode. And in comfort mode, it is going to use the vehicle in a traditional hybrid sense. So what it's going to be using is the electric motor for startup and to assist the car getting going, and then eventually it will switch over to the gasoline motor when you're at highway speeds. One of the nice things about having a plug-in hybrid with such a large battery is that when you are at a stoplight, the motor can turn off, which many cars do, but unlike regular cars that just turn off at the stoplight and restart when you press the gas pedal, this car uses the batteries to keep the climate control, like the air conditioner, fully functioning even while you're at a stoplight. So how else might you use the drive modes? Well, by switching into sport mode, what you're doing is telling the car that you want it to use the electricity not for efficiency's sake, but actually to make the car go as fast as possible. And you will use the battery in that sense to get the maximum acceleration. There are some other interesting screens that are available through the EQ power system. So you can actually select a screen that will show you where the electricity is flowing to and where the power is coming from. So as we drive along, it will actually show you in real time how the car is distributing power from both the battery and the engine. You can, of course, see all of your metrics, like on a regular GLC, of the engine through the engine screen. You can also check the consumption and see your consumption for gas. One of the other options through one of these screens is to look at the charging options. So there's some things you can do. For instance, by selecting departure time, you can actually tell the vehicle when you're going to be leaving. Let's say what time you get ready to go to work in the morning, and it will charge the vehicle, have it ready to go at that time, as well as you can preset the climate control, and it will actually use the electricity when it's plugged in to make sure the vehicle is warmed up or cooled down and ready for you to go. One of the other really unique features about this car is the radar-based regenerative braking technology. So, many hybrids use the kinetic energy of the vehicle when you're pressing the brake to actually recharge the battery. So you're sort of getting free energy there. When you hit the brake, you're using the forward force of the vehicle to create electric power for your batteries, which you can then use to get going again. However, what's really exciting about this system is the car uses radar in the front of the vehicle to figure out how hard the braking is going to be appropriate based on other vehicles that might be in front of it. And thus, it optimizes the ultimate amount of electrical power that it can harvest when you're coming to a stop. Now, so far everything we've been talking about has come standard on the GLC 350e. However, one of the really exciting packages that is available is the driver assistance package. Now, if you look at one of our other videos, see the link below, on the driver assistance package, you'll know that it's one of the most robust and really full packages that Mercedes-Benz offers throughout their entire range. However, there are some really unique features that are unique to the plug-in hybrid electric vehicles if you get the driver assistance package. One of those is what they call advanced radar-based regenerative braking. So we just talked about that a minute ago, but what this does is by using the much more advanced sensors that go with the driver assistance package, it's able to see even farther ahead. Thus, that allows you to maximize the ultimate amount of power that you can get when you're braking through kinetic energy recovery. Other features that are available if you get the driver assistance package are GPS-based route optimization. So this is pretty exciting. If you go ahead and enter your destination into the navigation system before you leave, the vehicle will look at the route that you have planned. It will look at the amount of electric power that you have in the vehicle. It'll look at the traffic that's on the road ahead of you. It will also look at the gradients, both hills, both up and down, and it will pre-decide how it's going to use the resources that it has available to maximize efficiency for your route. Even when you're not using the navigation system, if you have the driver assistance package, it does have something called anticipatory operating mode. Anticipatory operating mode allows the car to use its intelligence to try to figure out where it thinks you're probably going to be going. Let's say you're on the highway and you've been driving on it for a while, and it looks up to 4 miles ahead. And it's going to be watching what gradients are up ahead and the traffic to, again, best optimize the energy usage of the vehicle. Let's go on a little drive. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start out in pure electric mode. I've selected electric using the dynamic selector switch here, and as you can tell, the car is totally silent. Here we go. As I said earlier, there is 20 miles of electric range available when the vehicle is fully charged. It really is stunning just how smooth the electric power delivery is. It feels instantaneous. Now, as we're driving along here, let's say that I've decided, you know what, I need to charge the batteries. Again, by selecting battery level, as soon as I kick that in, then the gasoline motor has just turned on, and now we're using the gasoline motor to charge the battery pack. I've just switched over to eco mode. Now, you're thinking it's a hybrid, isn't it always eco mode? Well, eco mode is kind of an interesting feature. Now, all Mercedes-Benz with Dynamic Select do have an eco mode. However, with the hybrid, it's obviously significantly more robust. And one of the really interesting features that the vehicle has, when you put it in eco mode, and only when you put it in eco mode, if you press on the gas pedal a little too hard, what the vehicle will actually do is it will actually very slightly vibrate the gas pedal using haptic feedback, kind of like when you press on a touchscreen that vibrates, and it just lets you know what, you're pushing a little hard, this isn't the best way to optimize fuel usage, and it will actually train you to be a really efficient driver. Okay, I've just engaged sport mode. Now, as I said before, with sport mode, this hybrid has now become faster and more exciting to drive than the conventional GLC 300. For the GLC 350e, we've got the full digital dash that's in front of me here with digital dials. It's fully configurable. You can change different colors and designs that really suit you and display just the information you're interested in. It's controlled with the touchpad here on the left side of the steering wheel. On the right side of the steering wheel, there's another touchpad. That controls the screen in the center console. However, the screen in the center console is also a touch screen, and you can use that just with your finger. There's also a touchpad in the center console. It's kind of like a laptop trackpad. You can also just talk to the car, as you've shown in a previous video, and use the Hey Mercedes functionality to instruct the vehicle what you'd like it to do. Let's go ahead and switch back to pure electric mode. And again, we're still on a highway here. We're going 45 miles an hour, but I'm going to accelerate back up to about 60 here. And the vehicle is totally comfortable being used in pure electric mode on the highway. Let's go ahead and take a moment to experience what it's like to plug the vehicle into a commercial charge point. Let's take a moment and let me show you how easy it is to plug this vehicle in to charge the electric battery if you want to do that, as opposed to just using the motor to charge the battery. Simply walk up, take the charging handle, simply press the little door back there. This will open. There is another small door in here. You flip that, press this in, it clicks, you press down once on that, and away you go. If we go ahead and take a look at the dash on the car, you'll see that the car is now displaying the approximate time till fully charged. Now, a quick question about fully charging. If you go ahead and plug this vehicle into a normal household plug using the charger that comes included with the vehicle, it's going to take probably overnight to get the car fully charged from a totally empty battery. On the other hand, with a commercial charge point like you might find at work, that's going to take only about an hour and a half to get fully charged. Thanks for taking your time to take a look at the new 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLC 350e. You know, for a lot of people, they hadn't really considered getting a hybrid. But as you've seen today, the plug-in hybrid offers you the best of both worlds of an electric vehicle and a conventional internal combustion vehicle. It gives you the efficiency of a hybrid as well as the sportiness of that instant torque from that electric motor. I invite you to come on in, take a drive, and I think you'll be convinced. As always, like and subscribe to our videos so you always stay up to date on what we have new here at Zimbrick Mercedes-Benz. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments or suggest what you'd like to see in our next video. Thanks, and have a great day.